I don't know how long I'll actually be on live here today. Um, I'm on here a little bit early. Um, it got really dark. It's getting dark really fast out here. I usually get on here at 6 p.m. It's not even 6 p.m. yet, and it's completely dark already. So I don't know how much light I'll be able to get out here. But of course, here at the Centaur Fragrance Show, we chat about fragrances, and this is where, yeah, we have an opportunity to just talk to each other, see how our week went, chat about any new exciting fragrances, any fragrance news, any fragrance trends that we want to talk about. That's what my weekly chat is all about. If y'all like the weekly chat, hope that y'all do. So, anyways, guys, any new fragrances on your radar? Have y'all been trying any new fragrances? Anything new and exciting in your world? For me, I've got myself into a little bit of trouble fragrance-wise. I blind bought a fragrance called Insomnia. It's a good fragrance. I can see why a lot of people like it, but I'm gonna have to sell it, and I'm gonna lose a little bit on it. But it's a fragrance called Insomnia. I don't know if you know about it. It's like an indie niche fragrance. It's not terribly expensive. It's actually only about $83, I think, for 50 mils, and it's like a floral smoky gourmand. A lot of people like it. I see 5 people have popped in. Please feel free to share your sense of the day. Pop in, say hello. How are you doing? How was everybody's week? Sorry, I just get into conversation. But anyways, it's a good fragrance. I'll be putting out a review on Insomnia out for you guys. And I think if you like Oud Bouquet, and I think you're really going to like it. A lot of people compare it to Black Phantom. There's one guy who did a fragrance review. I'm not going to say exactly who he is. If you watch fragrances, you probably know who he is. He essentially suggested it was a clone. He does some of these like hot takes, and he makes like one point in a couple of minutes, and he doesn't really review the fragrance. Sometimes it's helpful, but anyways, I do think it's a good alternative. I do think it's going to be a little bit more mass appealing than Black Phantom by Killian, but I don't know for people who are dedicated to Killian. If you really like Killian's quality, it's really comparable. It's still a great value for money, but I don't know if it's going to be a replacement for Black Phantom. They both do different things. They're both different fragrances, and I explain a little bit about that in my review that I'm going to be putting out probably in a couple days. So Dan Talk Sips UK says just purchased Mercedes-Benz Black. After hearing a bit about it from Ashton and Joy Amin, that it's niche quality vanilla balm. Mercedes-Benz Black. I don't think I've tried that one. I have tried the Bentley Black, and that was one of those fragrances that attempts to be like a dark fragrance with labdanum. And I don't know why that's a common core DNA that these perfume brands go to. That it's a dark, so they pull out something, some dry, some incensey vibes with labdanum, and then they throw these synthetic, I guess semi-dark, kind of smells like black ice, uh, car refreshener. That's honestly, and some of these, cheaper fragrances that have black in the name. But that one sounds good. But woody, boozy vanilla, if that's what's going on there, that's gorgeous, and that always smells good. But I didn't, Bentley. It's funny. Bentley has some winners, also some of them that aren't so good, and I haven't really dived into many of the Mercedes fragrances. Maybe I should. I do think their bottles look interesting, and hopefully the sprayers are good on them. They're shaped kind of odd, but it would be nice to have one of those if it's good. So I can barely hear you. Okay, sorry. I might be messing up the mic. It does. Does it sound better now? Hopefully it does. Can you hear me better? Anyways, is there something wrong with the sound? Something wrong with the sound. Okay, I think I was messing with the mic. Is it better now? I think it is. Hopefully it is. Let me know. Anyways, okay, it sounds better now. Anyways, Mercedes Benz. I was saying that I haven't tried Mercedes Benz Black. I bet it's nice. I know a lot of people speak really highly about. I think it's the Mercedes Benz Cologne. I think it is. Is that if that's what it's called? I think it was an alternative to Dior Homme Cologne, if I remember right. A lot of people were saying it was very similar to that, and the bottle looks pretty nice. So it looks pretty heavy, and the cap looks heavy. So maybe one of these days I'll get into the Mercedes Benz. I just haven't recently. Again, I've been saving up for some more expensive fragrances that I've really been wanting, and I kind of been getting really
I don't know, fulfilled with my collection. Like I don't feel like I need too many things, but a lot of y'all, some people love to have lots and lots of fragrances. More power to them, but I don't know. Maybe I do need. I did like that Dior Homme cologne. I would like something like that. Maybe I need to get that one. So let me see here. Everybody's saying the sounds better. How was everybody's week? Any new fragrances on your radar? What have y'all been trying? Pete, everybody, and thank y'all for popping in and let me know the audio is okay. Dan says better now, mate. And original Dogman's in the house. Pete says I can hear you now, but the sound was going in and out. Sorry about that. I was messing with the mic and I wasn't trying to. I'm using a phone and the mic in and out is kind of in a funny place where I kind of want to put my hands. So anyways, I was talking about insomnia earlier. Have y'all tried insomnia? Have y'all heard about it? There was five. I think I saw 5 or 6 fellow fragrance reviewers, and they all spoke super highly of it. It's a good fragrance. It does feel kind of preachy in the opening though, and but it is kind of a cheaper alternative, and kind of could do the same things than Black Phantom does. And I do think it's more mass appealing. I have some mixed feelings about it. I'll tell more about in the fragrance review. So anyways, that's something exciting that I don't know why I kind of got excited and I blind bought that one because I usually don't buy into hype, but I kind of liked Black Phantom. It's fine, but it ends up turning a little bit like an inky vetiver in the dry down, and it's a fine fragrance, but I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more sweet and a little bit more of a gourmand instead of that musky phantom like quality. And I understand, I mean, they captured the quality, they captured what the fragrance is all about, but of course I wanted it to be richer and heavier. So I was kind of hoping for that, but it ended up being more of a smoky and floral kind of twist on Black Phantom, if that makes sense. Everybody was talking about the vanilla and the rum and the chocolate, and I was like, okay, this might be what I want, but it wasn't really what I wanted. But anyways, I won't spoil the review too much for you guys. Any new fragrances? I don't see anybody popping in too much with the comments. I see Pete. Thank you for commenting. He says, "I've heard had a good week, a great week, or been working. Yeah, we gotta stay busy, right? I've received a few samples of Killian and Amor Ut Intio. I'm not sure what that last house is. Tell me more about that. I might have to look into it. But which Killians have you tried? Killian's a fine house. Again, some people really like some of these houses. It's just Killian's kind of like Tom Ford for me. Again, I've talked about this before. There's a few of them here and there that are really nice, but I'm not in love with the brand as a whole. And for me personally, it's kind of hard to, I don't know, for me, the price for what you get is kind of hard to justify. So, oh, you smells good. Oh, Eugene's in the house. I really do appreciate that, man. How you been doing? Any new fragrances on your radar? I know you're the Guerlain man, and I respect that. You got all the knowledge about Guerlain. And I'm always looking forward to learning more about what you know. I saw you dive into Les Artisans fragrances a little while back. That was really exciting. Getting, hearing, and introducing us more to some of those Les Artisans. And they're another house that's not talked about enough. Sorry if you hear the dogs. They're fighting right underneath the phone here, and they're being awful. They're fighting. So, Cookie, stop it. But yeah, those Les Artisans are pretty nice. Y'all know how much I like Timbuktu. Cookie. Sorry, these. Well, anyways, you bought the ring light. I got it. I got it on the way. That I don't know how long it'll take to get here, but I did. Cookie. Stop. Anyways, Eugene's in the house. Yes. Gonna try some replicas. Replicas are nice. Which one are you going for? This crazy dog. Anyways, evening scent of the day is First Instinct Extreme. I don't think I've tried the Extreme. I have tried the original. Do you want to see Cookie? She's fighting over here. She's being playful. Anyways, is the Spice Bomb? I mean, is the First Instinct Extreme worth checking out? Is it worth the time and the effort? Do you like it? First Instinct's a really easygoing, playful fragrance. It's really nice. I wish that more fragrance reviewers would recommend First Instinct for people who just want a playful, easygoing fragrance, or even for young guys. You know, it's right up there with like Nautica Voyage and those kinds of fragrances for people who just want something really mass appealing and really likable, complements that kind of stuff. That's a good DNA. I don't see it highlighted as much as maybe it should be. So, Centurion, happy to see you too. You're in the house. How's it been going? I saw your. I'm trying to remember the name of the video, but I saw you highlight Givenchy Zurius Rouge again. Trying to remember the name, but that's a great fragrance, and y'all know how much we love that one. At least I try to mention it. If you're a gentleman, or maybe if you want more of a modern fougere, it's an interesting twist on that DNA, a gentlemanly vibe, and it's really I think it's outstanding for the value for what you're getting. So, how do you say that? Shajak Devry? That sounds familiar. Is that? I don't know who that is, but Cujo. I don't. Hello. Is that? Where are you from? Anyways, I don't know if he's a troll account. Centurion says, "Hey, everybody's saying hello to each other." Original Dogman says, "By the fireplace and jazz club." Oh, those are fantastic. Yeah, a lot of people talk about those for good reason. By the fireplace is has a really authentic, really nice smoky vibe in the beginning. I've seen a couple people. Most of them were ladies who said it was too smoky in the opening. I actually wish it was almost more smoky, but it's authentically smoky. But it's not harsh. It's not a barbecue smell like birch tar can be. If you've ever smelled pure natural birch tar, but then it dries down, and in my opinion, by the fireplace almost becomes a unisex, almost even slightly feminine fragrance, and I recommend it for partners, sharing the fragrance with each other. It is, but it is a really good, charming fragrance. It's probably one of the more wearable smoky fragrances out there. Jazz Club is really nice. It has its own mellow quality, kind of getting back to some of that honey tobacco kind of fragrance DNA, but it's very mellow and it's very calm. I don't remember any of the other notes. I remember it feel. I don't remember if it smelled leathery, but it felt leathery. And I don't remember the notes exactly, but all of those fragrances are nice for sure. I'm not. I would like to see. Again, they're not the same fragrances, but sometimes I would like fragrance battles between fragrances that kind of serve a similar purpose, like putting Pure Havane by Mugler up against Jazz Club and asking people on the street. It's like, do you think this one is worth the money when it costs double, for the based on Margiela Jazz Club, or do you think this one kind of does a similar thing? When you can get it on discounters for like 50 or so. Which one do you think is better when one's like double the price? So, Kitty, it says, Where's Ben? Hey man, I've been around. I've been on my videos. Hopefully y'all like my videos. Y'all know I've been putting out like a video every single darn day, and hopefully y'all like that. I've been doing that for like almost a year. I've been pretty darn consistent. So, sounds like Dogman is there with you. And I don't know if Dogman growls, but yeah, I've got little dogs over there. They like to fight and they like to play. So I'm sure y'all have seen them on my videos. They're rambunctious little critters, so they're always fighting. So you smells good. He's teasing, he's trolling. Anyways, Original Dogman says the two new Zaharoffs have some pretty good longevity. I think I saw. Weren't you talking about those? I'm excited more for the Noir than I am the Royal, but I am excited to try both of those. Supposedly Zaharoff is gonna hook me up with those. I haven't received them yet, but he's too generous with us. He's far too generous, but it is getting the word out for him. But hey, he's a super generous guy. Cujo the movie Dog Killer. Oh no, I don't know, but I haven't seen that. I don't know much anything about that. That's not a horror, is it? I don't do too much horror. That's not really my thing. But I'm more of an adventure. I can't even think of the right word. Adventure type movie guy. Sometimes I can sit back and watch an explosion type movie. If I'm joking about, like, girls, explosions, and all that stuff. But usually I like something that there's got to be an adventure element to it. I like to, like, they're going to find something or find somebody. I'm not against the superhero movies, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I'm just letting y'all know who I am just a little bit. I don't know why it's superhero movies. I like Batman for the most part, but I don't know why. I know a lot of people have always connected to superhero movies. I don't know. I connect more to fantasy. Like I was more of a Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter type of kid more than I was superheroes. Like I wasn't wanting to be Spider Man, but more power to the people who want to be Spider Man or any of Superman or whatever. So, but that's kind of funny, and I don't know why that is. But some people are more into the superheroes, and some people are more into the medieval fantasy side of things. So, anyways, let's get back to fragrance. No, I didn't like sharing my fragrance. Your lady's not she can't steal that one, huh? She can't steal by the fireplace, huh? I bet she do, I bet she wants to take it though. That by the fireplace, I bet she'd like that. Anyways, scent of the night, Papillon Tobacco Rose. Man, Centurion, you're pulling out some good stuff. You know all about those Ormond Janes, and now you're pulling out the Papillon, man, and you got the Penhaligons. I mean, Centurion, he's pulling out some good stuff over there. I recently there was like a couple. I think it was a month ago. There was some big sale Penhaligons was doing, and they were selling off this fresh fragrance. I don't know if they were trying to get rid of it. It was like $40 and free shipping, and it was like some insiders like family deal, and I really wanted to get it, and I messaged them, and they're like, "Sorry, it's like UK only," and I'm like, "Darn it!" They told me I couldn't get it, and it was sad. It was sad. Anyways, if my wife wants one of mine, I just buy her a whole bottle. Oh yeah, yeah. So you don't have to share too much. You both have your own thing. Okay. No, that more power to you. It's nice to know that your fragrance isn't disappearing on you, and it's nice to know like I I don't know. I'm getting into my personality again, but I like knowing my stuff hasn't moved. I'm funny. Like, I don't have to have things in exactly the right place, but I do like knowing that something is where I left it in general. And if somebody moves something in different places, I've had people do this to me. Somebody's like, oh, they left it. They think they left it in a common or easy to find place, but it's like in a different room, or it's in a complete. It's in I had it on the counter and they put it in my closet. It might take me a week to find it, and I don't know. Sometimes I feel like just rebuying it, but it drives me crazy. But I know how you feel about that. How you say that? Wong? I don't know if how Wong Wong. I'm just gonna call you Wong Wong. How you doing there? How does tobacco oud smell? Are you asking tobacco oud from Tom Ford? If that's the one you're asking about? Honestly, I'm not sure if I've tried that one, but I think I've tried the tobacco oud intense, which is really funny that I think I've tried the flanker and I haven't tried the original. Anyways, it's a little bit dry. For some people, it's not very sweet. It might come off a little bit better. It's rugged. It's I don't get that twang of pipe tobacco as much, but it has a little bit. It's it's hard to describe. It's like a dark, dry smoothness, but then it's a little bit more dry. It's kind of that. It's kind of that vibe. I feel like it's very rugged and perhaps comes off as more masculine. So, um, and if I'm not sure if I remember right, but I remember it almost having a slight animalic touch to the background of it from the oud. So, if you do like oud, and if you like Tom Ford's approach to oud or their style of fragrances, that one might be the most oudy Tom Ford, at least that I know of. I like the Tom Ford Oud Wood Intense, and I kind of like that tobacco Oud Intense as well. I don't feel like they're terribly intense to me. They're not terribly intense or scary or anything. I don't know. Some of these brands are really funny. Like I've talked about it before. Dior Homme Intense is actually just a little bit sweeter and a little bit richer in its own way, but it's actually quite unisex, and I actually recommend that the ladies also can wear it. It has intense in the name, so I think that scares the ladies away. And Tom Ford's Noir Extreme, you might think it's a fragrance that's not good for dates, but guys, I encourage y'all to get out there and try Tom Ford's Extreme and see if that works for you for date nights, because that's in my and that's one of the best date night fragrances that's kind of not mentioned. It's kind of not talked about for how good it is for, I think, for date nights. So, how does to okay, we talked about that. I got the heart like a chihuahua. Oh man, you don't mess with the chihuahua. It gets feisty, huh? It'll bite you. And we've never owned a chihuahua, but we've been around Chihuahuas. Yeah, they can be defensive real quick. So yeah, Noir lasts a good long while, and Royale also. Okay, and the Royale um, uh, is old school. Okay, yeah. Is it an anime? I don't know if that is an anime, or if you're asking me if I watch anime. I'm not sure what you're asking, but um, I don't know what we're going with this Cujo type of thing. I don't know. Maybe he's trolling. Maybe he's threatening my dogs. I don't know. Uh, he, I'm sorry, man, Papa Duplar. I'm sorry, I'm not catching on. If you're talking about popular culture, I try to stay tuned. Like I know about some movies, but if you start asking about people in certain music groups with certain music styles, I know a lot about different styles, but I don't remember certain like you know it's a famous band and you want me to know the name of the drummer or something like that. It's like I don't know who the name of the drummer is. Like I love a band named Nightwish. There's been a couple times where I memorized the name of the lead guitarist and the lead drummer. I can't even remember how to say their names right now. They're Finnish, and I love the band, but I hardly can't even remember that. And half of the time, if this is just an example. Like I care about the music, and I can talk to you about the music and the name of the song. I remember the names of the songs, but I don't know. This is just a comparison. To me, some details don't matter as much. Oh goodness, dog man, you're asking about? No, I'm not into that. If you're asking like the lollies and all that, but at least I know that stuff exists, and y'all probably got me kicked out and messed up my YouTube channel even more. I mean, YouTube already doesn't like me, but y'all messed me up now. Y'all messed me up big time. But no, I'm not into that so much. I don't know. I made my top 10 I made a fragrance your crush video if you want to go back and watch that about the types of ladies that I am attracted to if that's what you're into. But no, if y'all are asking, I'm not really into that kind of thing. Like I don't really watch anime, but I have joked with people. I'm way too open. I'm way too honest with y'all. But there's an anime called Overlord. It's not that zombie movie that they made. It's an actual anime, and I'm not into that waifu scene. But if y'all wanted to troll me, it's like about the only one I joke with people. Like people joke. There's a running joke called Best Girl, and if people want to debate that type of topic, I'll joke, and I usually don't care, and I don't get into that stuff, but I'll joke and I'll say albedo. So if y'all want to run with that, if that's what you want to talk about, you know go watch Overlord, and there's a gal named albedo. So anyways, Pete says Scent of the Day is Nishane's Haktavat. That's a really nice one, often compared to Aventus. I don't think it's a clone, but it definitely took inspiration. I think it definitely has it's not heavy on the smoke, but it does bring back a little bit of the smoke. But I do think it brings oak moss back to that Aventus DNA. There are some differences. I think it has a little bit more of like a white wood and a white musk kind of vibe about it. But it is if you do kind of want more of that vibe without paying for crazy batches. Have to pay hundreds, if not at like $1,000 for different batches of Aventus. You might want to go for Nishane's Haktavat, and it might be nice to try for some of y'all as well because it's something a little bit different from a new brand, and it might feel just a if you really like that Aventus DNA, it might just be refreshing that you have a different, the bottle looks different, you have a little bit of a different brand, and you get to try something that smells a little bit, a little bit different. So, little Papa, everybody's joking. Yep, I don't want to look and see my stuff is disappearing, lol. Like, yeah, one day you come back and your juice is, gone down a little bit, and you're like, ah. And who knows? It could be your favorite fragrance, and you didn't use it for a while. And then when you come back to it, you're missing half the bottle. I mean, you never know if you're letting people use your stuff. And I'm not throwing shade at your wife. I'm sure she's awesome. I don't know anything about her, but um, and I'm sure and all that. But whenever I let people borrow things, half of the time they don't bring it back, and sometimes they damage it. But I lent something out to somebody one time, and they didn't bring me my movie back. And funny we're talking about it, anyways. It wasn't anime. Y'all are gonna keep trolling me with that, but it's anyways. It was 10,000 BC, the second movie I lent out to somebody, And I told them that the last time I lent out a movie, they didn't bring it back to me, and that you got to bring it back. And he didn't bring it back either. So I pretty much never lend things out to people. And I don't know. I'm kind of getting into some rant territory, but with fragrance, I mean, I don't lend that out to people. If you're going to lend it out to somebody, why don't you just get them to buy it from you for cheap or give it to them or something? Because you know they're going to use a lot of it and they're probably not going to respect it as much as you do. Like, I know this is a completely going off topic fragrance wise, but again, this is I need to start my own knife channel because I'm into that kind of stuff as well. And I've seen people who say that you need to carry a knife that's like user friendly for people who don't know how to use them, and that you should carry something with you that people can abuse. It's like, if somebody's gonna, why would you lend a knife? And if it's a task that you can do, why wouldn't you just do it if they need help? It's like, I don't know. To me, I guess that's a little bit of a, I don't know, a personal thing. It's like, if you could, it's like they don't get, almost like they don't get the privilege of using your tool and possibly breaking your tool. And I'm really protective. Like, I keep my stuff really clean and really sharp. And anyways, I've had problems with that. Like, I handed one of my knives to somebody one time, and they didn't pay attention. It's almost why I don't even like to. Another reason, they're not going to return it in the same condition, and they can hurt themselves. I handed somebody one of my knives one time, and they weren't paying attention. They essentially told me that they were used to dull knives, and they put so much pressure on it that they almost went through the entire cardboard, and they were. I mean, they barely caught it, but they almost cut themselves open because I handed them a razor. I don't keep my things dull, so. Anyways, Lil Papa says, "Yep, I don't want to." Okay, we talked about that. Why? What does animalic mean? Does it smell like fur? Yeah, when I mean animalic, I mean it smells like animals. It smells like a wild animal, like fur. And you know how dirty animals can get, and it's kind of like that extreme body odor type of smell. That's what I mean by animalic. And I use these terms like balsamic. And again, I'm not insulting anybody, but sometimes people don't know, and again, everybody can see things differently, and maybe these are terms everybody doesn't know. But yeah, animalic means it smells like an animal, like body odor. Animals can get very dirty and have their own type of smell. But I guess if you've never been around animals an awful lot, or maybe you've never been around terribly dirty animals, I guess you might not know what that kind of smells like. So that's kind of what I talk about with ouds and some of these things. Some people say barnyard smell, some people say fecal, because that's kind of what it's kind of getting close to. But to me, animalic is kind of a little bit more furry. But Dior, Dior Homme Intense is awesome. Yeah, Dior Homme Intense is one of the biggest compliment getters out there. And again, I don't make list. I don't make list very often. I rarely make them unless people beg for them, pretty much. And I guess I could make another. I guess I could make another list about compliment getters, but I don't see Dior Homme Intense hit the compliment getter list enough. It's one of the biggest ones out there, and I don't know why people don't talk about it often enough. It's definitely one of the biggest. Great for dates, getting noticed. Yeah, I don't know if it's the biggest party fragrance, but it has enough performance probably to get you noticed. Especially if you're dancing with some, or if you're close to somebody, they'll definitely notice you. But I don't know if it gets out there as much as Ultramall or something crazy like that. But Dior Homme Intense is great. It really is. Superhero talk, Ben. And I don't know where this conversation's going, y'all. We're going crazy over here talking about anything and everything. So, anyways, anyone anyone try? No, I don't know what that is. Is that a fragrance? Are we still going off the deep end? I don't know what that is. There's also a fragrance. I don't know. I've never bought it, but I'd be interested to see if any of y'all want to kind of throw away your money and see if it's any good. There's a fragrance out there called like FCUK or something, and you know what the name of the fragrance is getting at. But they had a really funny advertising campaign, but I never had the inclination to kind of burn $20 to make a video just for kicks and giggles. But I don't remember seeing anybody review that. Yeah, and it's not like it's a Walmart special, or if it's not like a Walgreens kind of special fragrance. It was like an actual brand with an actual campaign behind it. And I don't know if it was popular. I don't know who bought the darn stuff, but anyways, Pete says I also sampled Thawmine, Green Pearl, and Imperial Crown out of the two out of the two. Green Pearl was really good. I, what brand is that? That's not Nishane, is it? Oh, you're talking about. I know Thawmine is a brand. Oh, you sample. Oh, okay. I'm just not too familiar. I've tried Amber Room from Thawmine. I haven't tried those two. If y'all don't know, Thawmine is a fragrance house, and for some reason, I got the impression when I first looked at that house, I thought it was a room spray. The bottles and how they present themselves, I don't know why I got that in my head, and for some reason, I didn't want to try them. But I eventually got a sample of Amber Room. I thought it was very subtle. If y'all want beast mode performance, I don't think Thawmine's the brand for you, but it was pretty well crafted. And it was a pretty interesting fragrance. And if y'all don't know, it's a kind of a play on the Amber Room or the Gold Room, and y'all should look into that with some history. There's like a fancy room somewhere. I forget, right. It's been a while, but it was a room, and they made the whole entire room like covered with metal and super fancy. So no, I don't think I'm not gonna do that on my fragrance channel, but I've been thinking about making my own channel. I don't know if y'all are into that kind of thing, but I guess maybe I could recommend my a separate channel. I wouldn't do it here, but um, I don't know. I have a lot of views and a lot of opinions on a lot of different topics. I think people need to hear. There's a couple big guys, Nick Shabazz. If y'all are into that thing, there's Blade HQ, which is a really big online seller, but they have some personalities. Blade HQ and I think it was like Knife Works. I mean, there's a couple of them out there, and there's a lot to learn. But there's actually behind the community. There's only like 5 or 10 really big people. There's a guy who's named Patty's Potato Peelers. I forget if he's changed his name or not, but he's Irish, and he likes focusing on really affordable knives and more old school knives. And he's pretty funny to listen to. I think the guy's pretty cool, but maybe I have to. I've gotten myself into way too many, and my dad is way more into even into knives than I am. And I could easily have a fragrance. I'm in a knife channel, with how much I could borrow from him, and I've been getting into some more traditional stuff. So, anyways, Eric S says it's a Jeffrey Dame perfume just filthy. Okay, does it have like a blue bottom and like a gray top? I think I've seen that one, but I didn't remember the filthy part. I remember saying just on the top of it. Anyways, I haven't tried it. I don't know too much about it. It kind of gave me a similar feeling to what was that thing called, like Fuel for Life. Um, anyways, and I don't know if you've ever tried that. That's a fragrance that's really playful. Some people really like the performance, but I smelled that one, and my cousin used to wear Fuel for Life, a ton of that, and I don't know why, but it wasn't for me. Randy says, "Scent of the day is Aramis Tobacco Reserve." That's a great tobacco. That's one of the best tobacco out there for the money, hands down, no doubt about it. And it has a little bit more of that gentlemanly vibe that some of those macho masculine guys kind of like. For an affordable tobacco for the money, y'all know I speak really highly about Bulgari's Man in Black. It's not Bulgari Black. That's the hockey puck, and I sometimes like to say that because I don't remember to talk about every single one of these details, but I don't like these brands. Sometimes they need to separate their fragrances, and they do things that are repetitive and confuse people. Why would Bulgari make a fragrance called Black, and then later on they would make a fragrance called Bulgari Man in Black? It's like, why not make something completely different where people would never be confused, but people probably have been confused and bought the wrong fragrance here and there. Somebody looking for one or the other probably has mixed things up and probably, completely bought the wrong thing that they were trying to buy. So, Centralized says, "Hey all, hey Centralized, how you doing? Good to see you. How's the fragrance life been treating you?" Chi Am Rosenberg says, "Scent of the day is Montana. Pour I I know what you mean. It's at Pour. Anyways, I haven't tried Montana. Who makes that? I don't even know. Centralized says cost €5 to €10. Yeah, that's pretty darn cheap. You could spray as much of that as you want, throw it in your car, forget about it, and probably call it a day. Eh? Is it any good? Is it worth the 5 or 10? Anyways, Rennie said, "How is that blackmail treating you?" I absolutely love it. Blackmail by Kerosene is one of my favorite smoky fragrances. It has a beautiful, interesting, like a raspberry note, so it has like a twang to it, and it has like that dark berry vibe, almost like black currant, but almost like Cedrat Boisé if you've ever smelled that, or Enchanted Forest with that black currant. But it's smoky and it's deep and it's playful. It has some sandalwood and I think some vanilla, and maybe a tiny bit of like a dark modern oud in the background. I love Kerosene's Blackmail. I also there's one called Unspoken Pleasures, I think it is, by Kerosene as well, and it's a beautiful citrus fragrance, and it has the note of waffles, and it smells like a waffle cone and like a lemon ice cream or something. And it's actually quite a nice fragrance. I'm really tempted to get it. It's beautiful. Yeah, Blackmail is really underrated, and the House of Kerosene as a whole. There's some of these niche houses that are great. Some of them aren't so great, but Kerosene is one of those that's not talked about for some reason, and they've been around, and it was started by a YouTuber, a fragrance reviewer, just like me. He was a fragrance reviewer, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because he doesn't give out free bottles, but it doesn't seem to me like if some of these fragrance reviewers would have been behind him, like they were Green Irish Tweed by Creed. I mean, Kerosene would probably be one of the biggest in the game, but I don't know why, and just doesn't get mentioned enough. You kind of have to buy directly from the website. I don't think he has any distributor deals. I don't think he sells through Lucky Scent. Maybe he wants more control of the brand. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe that's what one thing that's limited his distribution. I don't know, but Kerosene's Blackmail is fantastic if you want raspberry and a dark berry vibe. You want some sweetness, you want some smokiness, and then you get some vanilla and sandalwood and oud in the background, like a dark oud. And I love this stuff. It's great. Unknown Pleasures, yes, by Kerosene. It's from the House of Kerosene. I think that's the name of it. I might be mixing things up, but anyways, go to the website, search Kerosene fragrances, and you should be able to find it. Really, really nice fragrance. Again, has that waffle note, and there's not a lot of fragrances that have that waffle vibe. There's Papa's Waffles by Sucre Labelle, but that smelled like actual fluffy waffles. But again, Unknown Pleasures to me smells like a waffle cone, and like a lemon sorbet or a lemon ice cream. So, yeah, it's a killer. Yeah, it's awesome, and I wish more people would talk about it. And I don't know why. I remembered back in the day, years ago, Red Lessons talked about Copper Skies, and he mentioned liking Copper Skies. But I really haven't seen any other big fragrance reviewers or anybody, if for really for most of the point. And don't get me wrong, there have been a couple fragrance reviewers who have talked about Blackmail, but and that's fairly recently. But before that, again, some of the big fragrance reviewers, I don't know why they just don't talked about. They haven't for the most part talked about Kerosene at all. And there's a lot. I was trying to get to the point as well that there's a lot of great houses out there. And again, I encourage us all to explore new fragrances, talk about fragrances, just like I do, because we all learn from each other and we all benefit from each other. And there's so much out there. There's hundreds and there's thousands of fragrances. I can't review everything. I can't smell everything, and not. I don't think one person could. Even if you had all the money to buy all the samples and maybe even buy all the fragrances, how would you? I mean, there's more fragrances that come out every day. It's like even if you did 2 reviews a day, you probably couldn't keep up with it all. So like there's like Ormond Jane. Supposedly they're popular outside of YouTube, but for the most part, YouTubers don't talk about Ormond Jane for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of good niche houses. I could go on, but it's I'd be interested to see what fragrances y'all been exploring. What have y'all been trying? Again, I'm not against designer fragrances. I talk about them. I probably need to get myself a Spice Bomb Extreme and Stronger with You Intensely. I probably would like those. They're on my list, but I still have to try those Zaharoffs that are on the way. And I just made a big purchase of some things I've really been wanting, and I'll showcase a big haul video for y'all from Fragrance by CA. Some people don't like me mentioning them, but they're great, like Fragrance Net, and they actually have their sale going on. So I don't know if y'all want me to talk about them or not. Some people don't like that you mention a business at all, but they had the best prices around, and this is their anniversary sale. It's only going to go around for about 2 or 3 more days, and you get free shipping and 10% off if you I think it was 120 or so dollars. So if you go to the website, you'll they have the code on there on the website, or if you sign up for the news. And I just wanted to put it out there because some people tell me, when I talk about a fragrance and I say it's $50 or less or $30 or less, sometimes they tell me that I'm wrong, but you know, you got to go to the right places. So, are you familiar with the House of Vicanto? I'm trying to remember Vicanto. I might be mixing things up, but didn't they have one called Terra and Vicanto? Are they a Macy's exclusive? Because I only remember seeing Vicanto fragrances at Macy's. And when I first got into fragrances, somebody who was at the counter, two ladies, actually tried to sell me. I think they had an orange one called Solaire, which I tried later. I tried. It was the white one, the white bottle from Vicanto, and I think it was more of a clean Neroli fragrance, if I'm remembering the brand right. And I didn't really like it, and they wanted me to buy it. It was a clean fragrance, and I didn't want to smell like Neroli. I ended up buying like a big bottle of Versace Pour Homme, was one of my first fragrances, and I'll admit to it, we all start from somewhere. I bought Polo Red, full retail. Actually bought a gift set, so it was cheaper. But I bought a gift set, like a holiday set, and Polo Red. I really liked it back then. It's still a good fragrance. I probably should get the Polo Red Extreme. I've heard that one's really good. I bought Versace Pour Homme retail, and was there anything else that I paid retail for? After that, I kind of quickly jumped into buying things off FragranceNet. Most of my collection comes from FragranceNet. Again, I'm not trying to beat up on the Ross and the TJ Maxx guys, but there seem to be loyal people. Maybe in the big cities they have really good variety, and maybe there's more some of the red tag stuff. I've been to TJ Maxx and I've been to Ross in my city a number of times. I've actually never seen a red tag. I've actually never seen them put anything on a red tag sale, and it's terrible. But everything is, not a good price. And so I've even came across a few fragrances that were kind of desirable, but I could find better prices on FragranceNet or Fragrant. And now that I know about Fragrance by CA, Fragrance by Canada, I mean, it's like it's really hard to beat their prices, especially with the 10% off. So, anyways, I've tried the Robert Cavalli ones; they're good. Um, I haven't jumped into those. I know there's one called like Oud Touch, and I know everybody was talking about the Roberto Cavalli Oud, and there was one called like Desire or something like Desire Touch. I forget. But I need to get into those. The one I wanted never goes really cheap as much as the others. It was like $55. I've heard really good things. Maybe one of these days I'll blind buy into it. But again, I've never smelled any of them, and sometimes I feel bad because I bought and I've sold so many fragrances blind buying. If I blind buy it for 55 and I end up not liking it, I'm gonna have to sell it for like $30, and I have to pay shipping and fees, and I end up getting almost like 25 or $20 back. So it's the name of the game. You lose half of what you put into it if you end up selling it even on a designer fragrance. So that's my luck. That's all I mean, that's what happens to me at least. So Device says, I've tried. Okay, read that. Chiam Rosenberg says Zaharoff original is good. It's a dark barbershop. Really, really nice stuff. Interesting family and history. Absolutely. Yeah, Zaharoff first started off as a fashion house. I know that they made suits. I forget if they made it. I know that they made other things, but I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, and there's definitely have some history, and it was started by his mom, who was like a tailor, and it became a pretty big success. I don't know how successful the House of Zaharoff is with fashion anymore, but they're doing pretty well with fragrances. They had an original Zaharoff Pour Homme, and supposedly, like I forget, with it was the recession back then or something, and supposedly the original formula was lost or something. Anyways, the new Zaharoff Pour Homme is a really good gentlemanly. To me, it's more of like a lavender. It's like almost like a dark lavender fragrance. It's really clean though. It has clean elements, and it is an interesting fragrance, and a lot of gentlemen out there really like it. I don't know if it's for the really young guys or the guys who like the really super playful sweet stuff, but it is good juice, and he tells you where the notes came from. You know, he sourced notes from all around the world. He's using a good amount of naturals. I don't know how natural Zaharoff Pour Homme is, but it seems like there's a lot of effort that goes into the sourcing, and the quality's there. So I'm excited for the noir. I'm sure that they'll be good, but I'll definitely give y'all some videos on those whenever I get those. So Randy says it's by how do you say that? Saria Terenzi. Um, that's not Tiziana Terenzi. Is it a different Terenzi? Randy says. Vicanto. What brand was I thinking of? Vicanto. Oh, you're asking about. Y'all got me tired. I'm mixing things up. Vicanto is a side fragrance house. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I did a review. Do you remember that I did a review of Amons? I don't know why I just blanked there, but yeah, it's like a side fragrance house, and it's the I don't know why they have the side fragrance house. To me, the fragrance are very similar in style, but the regular Tiziana Terezi fragrances, a lot of them are to me are more fresh, and they some of them are complex, but the Vicanto fragrances I almost feel like they're a little bit lighter, and sometimes they play a little bit more with unique like earthy tones and floral tones, but that's just my interpretation. I'm not really sure why they have the two different houses. Maybe it was just to, Vicanto is more to experiment with the market, and that might not, if they have something that doesn't work very well, maybe it doesn't hurt the Trenzia Terenzi brand. And for maybe if they know a certain DNA really works with Vicanto, they can test it, and maybe they can bring a new fragrance into. And that's just a theory. Maybe that's what they're doing. I really don't know. I tried Amons. I think that if you like things like Asenza by Aqua de Parma, I think that you will like Amons. But it wasn't for me. It has some of that citronella vibe, and I don't know why. Citronella and clove and ylang ylang are probably my three fragrance notes that I probably dislike the most, or I struggle with the most. So anyways, I'll have to get back to you. That brand I was thinking of, there's one called Solaire, and there's one called Terra, and there is a white one, and there's a couple other ones, and I can't remember the name of it right now. Roberto says, "Have you tried anything from the house of Thomas Cosmala? Very underrated niche brand." No, I haven't. I'll have to look into Thomas Cosmala, and if you'll message me on Instagram or something, see if I can't take a screenshot real quick without messing this up. Um, anyways, let me see if I can't do that. Okay, hopefully I'll remember to look that up. I explore that tomorrow. So thanks for sharing with us. There's lots of undiscovered houses out there that don't get talked about a lot. And it's kind of a sad thing because they put a lot of work and effort out there. Mr. Oz is a fragrance guy that made his own house. It looks to me like he made it from the ground up. To me, it doesn't look like he collaborated with anybody or worked with some company that put in an algorithm. I think he made them all by hand, and he's a really cool guy. Check out Mr. Oz, and I'm sure that y'all know about Mr. Niche Guy. He's also a fellow fragrance reviewer. He recently came out with his own brands, Suga, and it looks like it's having pretty big success. He got himself on Lucky Scent, and it looks like he's doing pretty well. I'll be coming out with a introduction video of his fragrances. I got a discovery set, and I really like A Man in His Pipe, but the one that's probably the most mass appealing is Miranda, and the second one that's probably the most mass appealing that most people would probably like would probably be Wine and Chocolate. So really nice fragrances. He has his own little style. It's kind of based around, to me, a lot of his fragrances kind of based around, animalics, but they aren't very scary. I don't know how he does it, but to me, a lot of his fragrances kind of feel furry. But and sometimes he likes to use smoke as well. So I'm talking about the arms dealer. I don't, Chiam, what are you talking about over there? Oh, that's the interesting family history. Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't know if it was true or not. I wasn't going to talk about that, but okay. An arms dealer, huh? Well, some people, I really don't know too much of the history. I don't know if he was selling to certain, certain countries, or I don't know the details, but yeah, I'm not going to criticize George over there for that. I don't know what you're getting at, but yeah, we some of us do have crazy family histories. I really don't know that my family has any. Again, I have some Irish roots, and maybe we fought and had some wars with some different Irish people back in the day. I really do. I don't know that my family has any crazy history like that, but Pete says, I have a few new fragrances I've got this week: Kajal Om and Animalix from Aaron Terrence Hughes. I that Kajal is one that I've been wanting to get. It looks really, really good. And I'm not really sure which one I should possibly get in the future. If I should get the B683, if I don't know if y'all know about that, or if I should get the Kajal. To me, they're going to do similar things, but I'm not sure which one I would like more. I haven't even gotten a sample of the Kajal yet, but I know I need to get that sample. So, anyways, I haven't tried any Aaron Terrence Hughes. I don't. Does he ship samples to the USA? I looked at his website, and I think maybe it was when he first started, but it was really hard to get anything to the USA. I'm sure that he does now, but I don't know if the shipping's cheap. I don't know if he has any distribution with Lucky Scent or anywhere in the USA yet, but I know he had a gourmand one. I can't remember the name, but a couple of those looked good. He's a really interesting character. He actually reviews fragrances. I don't know if y'all know about that. I think he started on. I can't remember. Why can't I remember the name of that fellow? He's also a pretty big fragrance reviewer. He has over 10,000. I forget how many he has. I remember a couple of his videos where he joked around, or I don't know what his intention was, but he was spinning around like Jeremy Fragrance. I remember that. And I remember he got a lot of us onto Tabac Rouge by Faydon, which was pretty cool. But anyways, Aaron Terrence Hughes, he interviewed a couple times with him, and then he started his own fragrance channel. He's actually he's pretty successful as a fragrance reviewer. So he has his own interesting style for sure. He reviews like in the dark and stuff. So I don't know. Should I review fragrances in a dark room and have the light shining on my face? It'd be kind of dramatic, but Randy says I tried Mia Culpa and how do you say that? Stracina by Vicanto. Both are great. I do want to try more of them. I probably just bought the one fragrance I probably would dislike from them. And I have a tendency to do that. Sometimes I have bad luck. I do my research. I didn't know if it was going to have citronella in it. And I was hoping that it would be a really nice, easygoing citrus fragrance that I personally would like. But I don't know. Amans didn't work for me. But I know that, again, if you like Essenza by Acqua di Parma and stuff like that, if you like Cerruti 1881, stuff like that, you'll probably like Amans. So, have you tried the ARP shaving fragrances? No, actually, I haven't. Do you think I should get into them or buy them? So, did Fries ask y'all are asking bad questions? Who's the most attractive or the most best looking woman? I shouldn't get into that. Y'all gonna get me into danger zone territory. Y'all have already got myself. I didn't even monetize this, but if I was to, I'm gonna, even though I didn't even monetize it, it tells you if it's available to monetize or not, and I'm gonna have a big yellow flag on this telling me that pretty much I can't monetize or limited. They'd say it's limited, but it pretty much means you can't. So y'all are gonna get me into lots of trouble. I don't know who is actually. Maybe this is a scapegoat type of answer, but I can't even find the video anymore. When I first got into fragrances, there was this Italian lady, and she was talking about ladies' fragrances, and I don't know how I found the video, and but she was wearing pink, and I thought she was really pretty, but I don't know if she took down her channel, deleted it, but she's not even around anymore. And she's like an influencer. I don't remember her name, but she has like an Egyptian haircut. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like kind of shortcut and it's like straight down and it has like straight sides. But she has it's a big fragrance video, fairly big. I think it has 200,000 or 300,000 views, and I don't know why, but I kind of liked how she looked. But I I shouldn't get into that. I don't know. I'll put it this way: a lot of them are nice, but I guess we all have our types. Just go watch my top cinch your crush video, or I have a video where I did a top 10 list for like top 10 crushes, and I scented them, which was really corny. And I just wanted to do something for kicks and giggles. Not too many people jumped into it, but I tagged a bunch of people. It'd be fun if you'd like to do the tag. If anybody would like to do it, tag. Let me know if you did it, and mention me in the video. It'd be pretty fun to see who else wants to jump into the tag. But anyways, you can see some of the types of ladies that I'm interested in. I'm funny. I have my own kind of preferences, and again, I admit that some of the ladies reviewing fragrances are kind of pretty, but some people go crazy for a couple of them, and I guess they're just not my. Some of them aren't my type, but I'm not going to insult them. They're all pretty cool, and who you are inside kind of matters more than the looks, but but guys are attracted to the looks. There's no doubt about that. So. Anyways, did I avoid that question as best as possible? Anyways, if y'all wanted to chat with me outside of this, I could tell y'all about all kinds of ladies that I'm attracted to, but that's probably not a very smart thing to do. Probably not very politically correct, but anyways, Max Aroma carries Aaron Terrence Hughes. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could get Aaron Terrence Hughes through Max Aroma. Actually, I've never bought any fragrances through Max Aroma before. I bet that I know that he sometimes has fragrances on there that nobody else has on Max Aroma. I probably should check that out sometime. I don't know. I got into Fragrance by CA, and they have some of the best prices around, and I've been buying through them, but maybe I should mess with Max Aroma one of these days. But anyways, do you have a favorite Aaron Terrence Hughes? Which one would you recommend? Which one do you think's good? Honestly, I kind of want to buy samples. I kind of dislike blind buying. I'm not in the mood, I guess, so much to blind buy fragrances too much, at least right now. So, Randy says, I got a good deal on a bottle of Honey Oud. Really like that one. Is that the one by Montal? I know they have very similar names. There's one by Florist that has a very similar name, and one by Montal. I think you're talking about the Montal, but yeah, really good stuff. I've heard people say really good things about both of them. I think that some people say that the Honey Oud from Florist might lean slightly animalic, if I remember right, but it's still very wearable. And I think they say the Montal Honey Oud leans a little bit more powdery, if I remember right. So, you like it better than the Florist. Okay. Yeah, it's the Montal. Okay. Yeah, I honestly haven't tried the one from Florist. I would like to try it. I like the style of Florist. I don't know if y'all remember me talking about Leather Oud. I spoke really, really highly of that one, but it is more of a leather fragrance for leather lovers. It's not mass appealing. It's not easygoing, and I remembered that I don't. Y'all are tempting me all the time to mention other fragrance reviews. I don't try to throw shade indirectly towards people, and I don't try to do that stuff, but. I think she tried it because I liked it so much, and I think I got the point across that it's more of a masculine fragrance. But she dug her nose into that sample, and she put that tester strip really close to her nose of Oud leather when she first sprayed it, and she really disliked it. But it's an awesome fragrance. But you don't spray a fragrance, especially a strong fragrance, straight onto a tester strip and put it straight into your nose. That's almost as bad as spraying the fragrance in your nose. Yeah, I mean, you let it waft. Y'all know that. It's like, anyways. I'm not trying to criticize ladies, but I do see when people test fragrances on the street, get ladies to smell fragrances. I do see ladies tend to do that really a lot, and then sometimes they say some fragrances are too strong, and I don't know why, but they tend to put the tester strip, like the little piece of paper, really close to their nose, like inside their nose, almost like right up there to their nose. I don't know why that is. So. Anyway, Scott says, so I hear the art of shaving fragrances have barbershop scented ones. I just have the green lavender. It's classy and I blind bought it and I need to step away from doing so. Yeah, blind buying is risky. I mean, it is good especially if you're really curious, if you have the money to burn. Sometimes it's about the only way you'll get into a fragrance. Sometimes it's if you live in a smaller city or maybe you're not around any boutiques, it might be the only way you get into that fragrance. But if you can, it's usually best to get a sample or a little decant. But I've blind bought lots of fragrances, but I don't want to blind buy niche. And I kind of been stepping away from even blind buying designers, at least right now. I have so many really, really nice fragrances that I want to buy. So I've been trying to save up to afford them. And maybe in the future I'll blind buy a little bit more. But Florist has some bangers. Yeah, Florist is a really good house. Doesn't get mentioned a lot. Doesn't get mentioned enough. Florist is an outstanding, very classy house. Has a lot of history behind it. It's not a house that sprung up, in the last 5 years, or a clone house that made an Aventus clone and just started up in the last year. It's another fragrance house with a lot of history, and they've been around for a while, and they're quite nice. So I'd give them a chance. They're pretty good. I have a daddy long leg over here. First, I didn't know what that was. Walking over. Have y'all? Do y'all live where there's daddy long legs? They're like big. They're kind of funny spiders. They look like something out of a Harry Potter movie. Anyways, have you seen ETH's most recent video? Aaron Terrence Hughes. No, I have not. I have watched a few of his reviews, but I don't. I actually don't watch a lot of fragrance reviewers consistently, I guess you could say. I do watch other fragrance reviewers. Centurion, I mean, I watched his most recent video, and some of these people who put out, reviews of niche fragrances that I think are interesting. Some of the smaller channels who tend to, be more passionate and are exploring fragrances. That to me is really interesting. If a bigger fragrance reviewer is, regularly doing top 10 list, or just talking about, and I don't want to criticize other fragrance reviewers, but sometimes they just glide. It's supposedly a fragrance review that takes 5 to 10 minutes, and they call it a fragrance review, but they don't go into any details. Or maybe it's just a different style and presentation, but I never learn anything, or I don't gather any information to me that helps me understand the fragrance. Like, I like to know how it makes you feel. I like to know a couple of the main accords. I like to know maybe a little bit of the story. If there is a story, if there is anything special behind the name, and why the fragrance was named why it is. Y'all know how I do my fragrance reviews. Then I'd like to talk about the performance, and I like to talk about what other people will think, like compliment factor, like what kind of reactions you're going to probably get. And then I like to talk about my price and my final thoughts, and maybe compare the fragrance to some other fragrances. Do some comparison and some contrasting. So, but I wasn't trying to criticize Aaron Terrence Hughes there. I was just talking about in general. I think Aaron Terrence Hughes actually does a really good job, and he does a good job actually of talking about the main accords. And he's a perfumer, and he's actually usually spot on with his fragrance reviews. But sometimes he can be a little bit critical, which drives some people absolutely bonkers. I think he criticized. I mean, he criticized Creed, and he criticized some niche fragrances at one point in one video. This was when he was doing some interviews. But then in another video, he criticized a bunch of cheapies, and maybe some people only focused on the cheapies that he criticized, or maybe some people just got super defensive. At one point, I saw a bunch of hate for him on Facebook because he criticized a bunch of cheapies, and we all like different things. We're all different. We all prefer different fragrances and styles. And hey, if he doesn't like a lot of these affordable fragrances, more power to him. And of course, I'm not trying to criticize him, but there's no doubt about it that you got to try to build up your image and possibly your brands. He's going to say his fragrances are good. Again, I can't speak on my opinion. I haven't tried them yet, but Randy says, "Do you know a legit place to get glass 10 ml bottles?" There are some glass sellers, distributors. I have some droppers, but they're not really sprays. You can buy, sprays, the glass or plastic from AliExpress. A lot of the ones you get, I've seen actually come from there, and they're super affordable. If you buy from Amazon or anywhere, they're actually usually reselling from AliExpress. So again, yes, a lot of people in the USA buy US, and I understand that. But a lot of the things that people buy are gonna, if you decide to, spend your money and buy something from some of these gas stations or other places, they tend to just resell the same stuff anyways. So sometimes it's actually good to save your money. So you might want to go to AliExpress and see if they have any 10 ml bottles. I don't remember seeing 10 mils. I know that they have 2 mils. I actually bought a big pack, for myself, and decanting for sometimes I do for you guys, but I don't remember seeing 10 mils, but I'm sure that they have them on there. So Scott says, my blind buys have been cheapies, so the term goes in the community. Most have been successful, but have maybe a dud in the English Laundry Windsor. Yeah, that's see my thing with blind buying cheapies. I think it's really good when you first get into fragrances. You get to learn about all kinds of different styles and experience different notes and actually figure out what you like and what you dislike. Blind buying cheapies, I think, is actually a really great way to go when you first get into fragrances. But as you buy, once I mean, we all have a different fragrance journey and have a different opinion about going about fragrances. But in my opinion, once you get deep, if you decide to go deeper into fragrances, you're going to get more picky. And I tend to sell more fragrance, even though I know my taste and I research the fragrances. I tend to eventually sell more fragrances than I keep from blind buying. So it's usually good if I try to get samples and see if I really am in love with that fragrance. And that gives me the opportunity to test a bunch of things instead of having to worry about, do I really love this fragrance or do I not like it? And then possibly trying to resell it and losing a bunch of money. I'm kind of to that point where I kind of go more for samples than blind buying. But when you first get into fragrances, if you don't have a lot of fragrances and you want to experience and learn, I mean, blind buying is great. And I still blind buy sometimes, but it all depends on how you want to go about your journey. I've met people who go straight into artistic niche and that's their thing, and I've seen some people and they like to stick with $20 fragrances and that's what they like, and they don't think anything that's more than $30 is worth a darn. More power to them. We're all definitely different. We wear, and I won't get into this again, but we all wear fragrances for a little bit different reasons too. So anyways, um, Carl Flores says, Scent of the Night is Nichane Fanyo Flames. Absolutely fantastic fragrance. I have that one. I spoke about it a year ago. I bought it before all the hype that happened a couple months ago. I had it and I spoke about it. I probably contributed to a little bit of the hype, even though that's not my intention. It's a fabulous fragrance. I think it does a similar thing to Enigma or Creation E by Roja, and I actually like it better. It's a different fragrance. It has different notes and a different style, but I think it does something similar in how it feels, and I like it a lot more than Enigma personally. So Fan Your Flames is absolutely gorgeous. One of the best tobacco fragrances out there, and it's actually quite a charmer. It's really nice, and the quality's outstanding. Scott says favorite might be Yves Saint Laurent Ultime. Yeah, a lot of people seem to like that one. I don't know why, but I respect that. Of course, you like it. It's a big compliment getter. That one's super super easy to wear. To me, it smells almost like Nautica Voyage, but it's like more powdery. I actually had an opportunity to get that one, but I kind of dipped out on that. But I respect the fragrance, and I see a lot of people really like that one. And I won't say who he is. Y'all know who he is, but he speaks really highly about Old Team and actually says like Team Old Team. But a lot of people, if you're in there for the compliments and something super versatile and likable, Old Team is definitely up there with Nautica Voyage as probably being one of the most easy to wear, biggest compliment getters, and really likable stuff. I understand where some of that's coming from for sure. Les Hommes Intense, that one's really nice as well. I don't know. For me, I kind of prefer Dunhill Century or even Off Non Supremacy in Heaven a little bit more. And Off Non Supremacy Heaven is different. It's kind of a clone of Silver Mountain Water, but it doesn't have the vetiver, it doesn't have the dark berry, and it kind of introduces a sandalwood in the dry down. But for a clean, fresh, but fancy, almost fancy, clean smelling fragrance, yeah, I mean it's good. It's for I don't know. I haven't tried the intense version though. I got to try that one and see what it's all about. But I'm just talking about the regular Les Hommes. A lot of people hype that one up, the regular Les Hommes, and it's a fine fragrance. It makes you smell fresh. It makes you smell clean. It's a little bit classy. It does smell a little bit more expensive than it is. But I don't know. I thought that Dunhill Century was better, and Off Non Supremacy came out, and it doesn't perform very well. But it's from Boise 1920. There's one out there called Magia, which is also kind of similar to. Silver Mountain Water, but it's kind of like a Silver Mountain Water cologne edition. It's kind of light and it's kind of super easy to wear and it's youthful, but it doesn't perform terribly well. But I like it, and I kind of would rather have that. But anyways, Fragrance Mafia says, "What's your thoughts on House of Ex Nihilo?" I've only tried a few of them, but I don't know if you were around. I guess I spoke more about this on Instagram than I did here, but I'm crazy about Cure Celeste. He likes to make, I don't want to say transparent, but like airy, or not even airy, but he likes to make fragrances that feel like lifted. They're like all the notes seem like they're kind of like up in the sky, and that's kind of like what he goes for with his fragrances and his fragrance style. His brand is not about dark notes. His brand's not about heavy gourmands or oud or anything like that. Ex Nihilo actually is a really nice house for people who want some things that are very wearable for everyday situations, like Gallivant or Byredo. So I don't think the house is represented well enough. Cure Celeste means essentially like a celestial heart or kind of like a celestial leather. And it's a very super duper clean white leather fragrance, and I love how it feels. It feels it's awesome, and it's a very clean, easy wear fragrance, but it's fancy. It doesn't. It's not the same vibe or the same emotion to a Prada's El Homme, but Cure Celeste, kind of the same. I mean, kind of going for the same thing is like clean and fresh and just smelling. Very almost like white florals, but not smelling like old school. If that makes any sense, like smelling clean like white florals, but not actually smelling like white florals. Cure Celeste, probably my favorite clean, almost soapy style fragrance. But it's expensive. I would have it in my collection, but I just haven't saved up the money and haven't bought it yet. But I'm crazy about it. Anyways, let's get to some of the comments. I've been see. Cardinal Flores says, agreed, Fan Your Flames over Enigma. Yeah, Fan Your Flames, it's not the same as Enigma, but it has, to me, they really do. I mean, Fan Your Flames or Enigma, they really do have some similarities between the two. Fan Your Flames performs better in my experience, and it has more personality. And I think the quality is just as good, if not better. To me, Fan Your Flames is a much better bang for your buck than Enigma. I know that ladies are probably going to think Enigma is a little bit easier to wear. Some ladies don't like the tobacco in Flame Your Flames as much, and it does have a little bit more of like a strong, confident personality about it. So I understand that the ladies, or maybe if you just want a more of an easygoing fragrance, Enigma might be a little bit better for those people. But if you want the personality, if you want you want a fragrance with some character, and it has better performance. I think Fan Your Flames, yeah, definitely better. So, Pete says, I love tobacco fragrances. I might have to check out Fan Your Flames. Absolutely, check it out. It's one of the best tobaccos, in my opinion, out there. Absolutely worth checking out, my friend. Casey says, been a while, Ben, scent of the day. Yeah, it's good to see you, Casey. It's been a little while. Mont Blanc Emblem. I have Mont Blanc Individual and Star Walker, and I think Emblem is the best. Yeah, it's if I remember right, Emblem is the one with some tea, right? It has some tea to it, and it has a little bit of a sweetness. I don't remember all the notes, but I did review the fragrance back in the day. I say back in the day, but I've only been reviewing fragrances for about like 2 years. But again, I've been crazy. I've been crashing and pumping out the content. Some of these fragrance reviewers who have been out for 2 years or so only have like 200 videos. I got you over 600. So, um, it's like I've been working on it hard, real hard, and yeah, Mont Blanc Emblem is kind of underrepresented. I mean, Mont Blanc as a house, those are some pretty good cheapies to get into. The performance on some of them, I mean, is it crazy? But they're nice, and they are a really good place to start if you just want something casual or playful, or maybe if you're just getting into fragrances. If you're watching me right now and you've never bought a fragrance or you have a very small collection, I mean, hey, you might want to test and see if you like the note of tea. So you might like tea in fragrances, you might dislike it, and that's a really good way, that Mont Blanc Emblem, to test if see what you think about a tiny bit of tea sprinkled in your fragrance. So. Ultra Supra says, hey Ben, how's it going? Great to see you. Got a question. Just received Yves Saint Laurent Opium Pour Homme. Really love the scent, but checking the batch code, it's 2017. Is that too old? Should I return it? Ultra Super, are you asking if that means if it's I don't know if that one has any difference in batches. I really haven't heard. I know that I think it might have been reformulated at one point. I really don't know, but I don't think you have to worry about that with opium, as far as I know. Um, if you're asking if it's too old, like if the fragrance is expired, I think that's what you're asking. no, the fragrance is definitely not expired, especially if it's stored correctly. Definitely if it's been in the box. Fragrances can last 10 or 20 years, and I made a video about that. And I've made videos all about this, and I've tried to get the word out. I don't know if I'm not as influential, and I'm not as big of a YouTuber as some of these big guys. But I do wish that they would make a video like I have. I've talked about how to properly apply fragrances, and people are spraying it on their chest, and that really makes you go nose blind. On your chest is the hottest part of your body, your core, and you're making that fragrance evaporate faster, and it goes straight into your nose, and people aren't likely to smell that fragrance unless they're really close to you, or if they're giving you a hug, or if they're on your chest or something. It's much better to spray on your arms, where that fragrance is really gonna give you an extra foot or two of radius, and also it's gonna make it evaporate a little bit slower. So I think and spraying it on the sides of your neck, and also maybe even your knees. So that's the best way. But if asking about expiration with fragrances, that's also another huge topic. Your fragrances aren't going to go bad anytime soon. What's going to hurt your fragrances is if you leave them in direct sun, from your windows, and also if you get them in heat. Heat and sunlight are probably the biggest two enemies of your fragrances. Um, you know, I like to keep my fragrances in the box. It protects them from the sun. It keeps them very stable. You don't have to keep your fragrances in the box. You can put them in the closet. But a lot of people like to, keep their fragrances out so they can look at them. Some of these niche presentations are like art. They're art, and they're beautiful, and they want to see them. So I try to maybe put your bookcase or where you present or display your fragrances opposite of your windows so they don't get as much contact with the sun. Or maybe you could buy yourself some good curtains, that kind of drown or kind of keep out some of the sunlight out of your room. Artificial light from from a light bulb isn't going to affect the fragrances as much as probably sunlight, from the sun. So, but I think you know what I'm saying. So, but it's not too old. It's still good. Your fragrance isn't bad, at least if it's been stored correctly. Mancera Windwood was a pleasant surprise, very wearable, but great performance, lighter and fresher than Montals have. Yeah, Mansara again. If y'all are again, you want to go for something a little bit more special. You want to dabble into niche a little bit, but you think you won't get a good value for money, and maybe you want really really good performance. You have to have your 8 hours or plus. Eight, maybe 9, 10 plus hours. Mansara is a great way to go, and I'm not trying to hype up Mansara, but they do a great job of that. And sometimes if you look at on the gray market, sellers, you can get them for $80 or so, and they're 4.2 ounce bottles. They're not 3.4; they're bigger. You get pretty much a whole extra ounce, and they're quality fragrances. They last long, and if you can get one for 80, that's essentially paying for price per mil. That's almost like paying for a 3.4 ounce, like 60 bucks, and the better than your average designer fragrance, that's for sure. And you got the performance, and a lot of them are sweet. They can get you compliments. I talk about Cedroc Boise, and Cedroc Boise was the talk of the town for a hot minute. Everybody was buying up, and everybody was talking about Cedroc Boise for a good reason. Some of it, yes, it was because they were talking about it being an Aventus fragrance. That definitely was a part of the popularity, but also it's a really easy to wear compliment getter fragrance. It lasts a long time, and you get a really good bang for your buck. So yeah, Mansara definitely has got it. I really like Oud Vanille and Amber Fever, and I'm really tempted to get Crazy for Oud, but I'm not sure. I've gone back and forth about getting that one, and I've gone back and forth about getting Oud Cafe because it has a peach note, but I do like coffee, and I do like the sound of Oud Cafe. I probably need to buy myself a sample of both of them. I don't know if I feel comfortable blind buying either of those, but I'm always excited. I'm looking forward to seeing some new releases from Mansara. I haven't seen Mansara come out with anything new recently. I don't think that the companies are connected, but I see more releases coming out from Montal than I see Mansara. I don't know why that is. Montal's comes out with a lot more releases than Mansara does. So, um, Scott asks or says, "What are some of your most versatile fragrances in your collection?" I think I have all seasons covered. Even though you can wear any fragrance anytime. Absolutely, you can wear anything anytime. Again, I suggest fragrances for seasons because I think sometimes they maybe suit, they maybe feel like a certain season or a certain emotion, or I feel maybe they work better with certain temperatures. But of course, you can wear anything anytime you want. Especially with a lot of us are indoors, you can get away with a lot. Indoors in air conditioned environments, you can get away with an awful lot. You pretty much don't have, I mean, you can wear whatever the heck you want, of course, but it's just easier to get away if you're indoors. But some really likable. Again, I already mentioned Off Non Supremacy in Heaven, a clone of Silver Mountain Water. It doesn't have that dark berry sweetness that pops up in the opening of Silver Mountain Water, and it doesn't have the key vetiver, and it introduces a sandalwood. It's really, really highly versatile fragrance. That one's really great. A great cheapie that I've mentioned a lot in the past, one of the best bangs for your buck out there if you are looking for cheapies, is Moschino Uomo. It's kind of this interesting, clean, powdery fragrance, but then it pulls out this interesting kumquat sweet fruitiness, and it's just a really classy. You can dress it up or dress it down, but I love the fragrance. It has a really interesting vibe about it. That's probably one of my best cheapies in my collection that have held on to. One of my best fresh fragrances. I spoke about it a number of times, and hopefully I've gotten the word out. Dolce Gabbana Swimming in La Paris for wanting to smell like this the salty sea breeze of the ocean, salty aquatic. Smells great. It's a big compliment getter, and I don't know. To me, it's probably the strongest of the light blue flankers of the light blue family. A lot of the people like to hype up what's new. You know, they have a number of fragrances that come out every year. I think this year was Love is Love, and the year before it was Dolce Gabbana Light Blue Sun, I think it was, which had like a interesting fruitiness to it. Anyways, that one's nice. That the Sun one is, but my favorite is the Swimming in La Paris, but from Dolce Gabbana. And again, I don't want to hype them up, but I do think it's important for us as fragrance lovers to understand the general market and what people are actually buying. And one of the biggest top sellers that people always buy, that people are always going for year and year, dedicated buying bottles. Maybe a lot of people probably this their signature scent. The OG original Dolce Gabbana Light Blue. It's highly inoffensive. It just smells nice, and people just rock it. And you can't go wrong. And I mentioned that one for a gym scent, but I don't have that one in my collection. I like this again, Swim in Lipari. But let me think of another one. Let me think of something else that I have that's really versatile and fresh. Um, I have 10 a.m. Flirt, but it's more of a gardenia fragrance. It also has fig. It's a fragrance that's interesting in its own right. It's from Kieran NYC. Again, it's called 10 a.m. Flirt. It's a really interesting floral fragrance. That one's really versatile. Another one is Oud Malaki by Chopard. It's a beautiful citrus. It's actually more of a citrus amber type of fragrance. It's not really an oud fragrance, and it ends up being a little bit incensey and a little bit powdery. That one's really versatile. I like that one in my collection. And again, a lot of people don't like me mentioning Fragrance by CA, but definitely go check that. It's actually one of their door crashers, and I saw it, and they got it for like $30. It's outrageous, $30, and it's a fragrance that you usually have to pay 60, 70, $80 for, even at discount. At retail, at boutiques, that fragrance is above $100. So, Oud Malaki from Chopard, highly underrated, great juice. I'm trying to think in my collection. If I was sitting in front of them, I'd be able to pull them out for you. What else do I have that's really, really nice, that's fresh? I like Cartier Roadster Sport. A lot of people are probably going to beat up on the fragrance. It doesn't have great performance. It's probably a 4 or 5 hour fragrance, but the quality for what you're getting for the money for $35 or so, Cartier Roadster Sport is really, really nice. I still think it's worth the money, even though it gives you 4 or 5 hours of performance. I still really like it. I still really enjoy it. So, um, what are some other ones? I'm trying to think of. Again, I tend to like the dark fragrances, so I don't have too many things that are fresh. But I do have some things that are versatile. I still have a bottle of Versace Pour Homme. It's hard to beat that one. That one's a real classic. I think it's better than Acqua di Gio. Outstanding fragrance. Absolutely worth having in your collection for a versatile, zesty, citrusy, kind of a modern aquatic, and it's classy and I don't know why, but it's another one of those fragrances. It's got me more positive attention and compliments than a lot of other fragrances. I don't know why. It's not, to me, it's not terribly special, but it smells classy and aquatic and citrusy. It smells Italian. So people like that on me. So I don't think you can go wrong with that. If y'all are, again, if somebody's watching me, maybe has a smaller collection. I know that a lot of y'all are probably pros. I know that some of y'all probably have better, bigger collections than I do. But for fresh fragrances, I guess the last one that I can remember I'm going to mention here, then I'll kind of stop this in this topic. But Terre d'Hermes Eau Très Fresh, kind of considered a little bit of a higher end designer fragrance. You really usually can't find it any cheaper than 60 or 70 or sometimes even $80. It's worth the money. One of the best fresh fragrances I've ever tried. It can be dressed up, it can be dressed down. Perfect for the office environment. Just smells like a class act. Terre d'Hermes Eau Très Fresh, outstanding juice. You got it. If you haven't got your nose on that and you like geranium in fragrances, or if you like classic men's fragrances and you haven't given that one a try, I think it'll give you performance that you like, and it might remind you perhaps of a cologne style fragrance. It's outstanding. I mean, y'all know about Terre d'Hermes, but it just brightens it up and it makes it even fresher. It takes away some of the earthiness and kind of mixes in a bunch of Isui Super and a little bit more of a mineral type of feeling to the fragrance. So I love Terre d'Hermes Eau Très Fresh. Awesome stuff. Let me get to some more of the comments here. Um, let's see. Pulse points, my man. Yeah, pulse points. You're exactly right. Pulse points is a good way to go with applying fragrances. So I talked about versatility. What are some of your versatile? I talked about some of those. I don't want to focus too. I think we need to jump to some more. But if you want to ask me more questions, if you had some, I didn't talk about those things enough, feel free to message me on Instagram. I'll easily be able to get to you, or you could even start a conversation in my Facebook group. Which honestly, I haven't kept I haven't watched that or been active enough in my Facebook group. So. Hey, Jesus Christ has blessed us. I don't I don't know who this guy is, but here he is. Jesus Christ is in the house. I don't know. Can you make multiple YouTube accounts with the same name, or is that the only YouTube account that or only YouTube account, uh, or even Google account that's named actually Jesus Christ? I'd be interested to know if that's the OG original account. Hey man, that's bragging rights. That's bragging rights right there. Scott says pulse points. Yeah, I read that. Randy says I have some frags. The '90s are still good. Yeah, fragrances don't go bad, especially if you store them in the box or store them in your closet or in a dark room. And if you're keeping them out of the heat, fragrances will last you 10, 20 years or more. Your fragrances aren't going to go bad anytime soon. But I do see some fragrance reviewers who have their fragrances, directly in sunlight with their windows wide open. Their fragrances aren't going to last. The top notes are going to go away, and their fragrances are going to go bad in a couple years. It might be 5 years, it might be 7 years, it might be 10 years, but that's not a good way to go. Ultra Super says, yeah, I got many bottles from even the late 80s and they're still good. Yeah, your fragrances aren't going bad. And thank you for adding a witness to what I'm saying. Testify. I'm sorry, you got me in a Jesus mood over here. A few have turned out, but they've survived through the bad environments for many years when I was clueless. Yeah, some of those fragrances are still holding on, even though you might have left them out in the sun and maybe abused them a little bit. So Casey says Montal and Monsar are the same company. That's what I was asking. I'm not really sure. I thought that they were connected. They do seem to influence each other or have, kind of release things at similar times or kind of do similar things. I'm not really exactly sure, but I do think that there's something there to that. So Casey says 8 and Bob original, best fresh, versatile, and good performance fragrance I own. Yeah, 8 and Bob is another one of those houses that isn't mentioned a lot. I think 8 and Bob Egypt is outstanding. If you're one of those guys who likes Creed Viking, or maybe wants a really classy, spicy, kind of fragrance with a little bit of a classic type of DNA to it, 8 and Bob Egypt is outstanding, and I definitely would recommend that too. So yeah, 8 and Bob, pretty good house. Some of them are only 6-hour fragrances, but hey, some people don't want really strong fragrances, in every situation anyways. So Let's see. Ronald says Invictus or Hawas are pretty versatile as well. Absolutely. There's a lot of versatile fragrances. Invictus is definitely one of them. Again, I don't want to beat the drum or promote Invictus to everybody. Some people don't like. Some people think it's synthetic. Some people don't like the bubblegum vibe in general, but it is sweet. There's no doubt about it. That's one of the biggest compliment getters. When I was at college, again, please get the word out. And again, it still applies. There's still great fragrances. Invictus, and I mean, I'm still in my 20s. I mean, I was wearing these a couple years ago, and they worked. Dylan Blue and Invictus are still some of the biggest fragrances out there. For getting noticed and getting positive attention and being attractive. The ladies, they're crazy about that stuff. So, um, they're pretty. I honestly haven't gotten Hawas. I know a lot of people love Hawas, and I know it's a good fragrance, but I haven't blind bought into it. I think Invictus is good and all, but I kind of outgrew it. Maybe I'm getting too fussy about my fragrances, but yeah, I've never blind bought Hawas. So, have you tried Afnan 9 p.m. Black Bin? I heard it's very close to Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Mall for a lot cheaper. No, I haven't blind bought it, but maybe I should try. I should get it to review for you guys. Let me know if that's something y'all would really like me to review for you guys. I haven't heard very many reviewers talk about that one. Afnan is putting out some pretty solid fragrances for you guys. La Haramain, that these are kind of like Arabian clone houses, and they put out pretty good quality for the money, especially on discounters like Fragrance Net and Fragrance by CA. What I didn't go straight for Creed's Aventus. I still don't even own a bottle. Some of the ones I've shown are from my dad. I went straight for La Aventure by Al Haramain, and I enjoyed that one quite a bit for an Aventus style fragrance. So Scott says Versace Signature is for sure so easygoing. I do have that one. Absolutely. That's one of the best timeless classic fragrances out there. I think it's kind of the king of the freshies right now. If you're looking for something that's dependable, works every time, anybody can wear it. Perfect for the office. And I've mentioned it a couple times, but I really encourage you guys, if you're going for your first business interview, like you're out of college or you're first getting your first professional job, I think that it's easygoing and it smells clean, and I think it has a little bit of a classy professional vibe without being too much. You're not trying to smell like the CEO, and you're not trying to be too pushy. But I think that wearing a couple sprays, 2 or 3 sprays of Versace Signature or Versace Pour Homme, will definitely leave a really good impression. Are you a fan of Ganymede? I really like Ganymede. It's outstanding as well. It's a little bit more of a floral and almost like nutty interpretation. I think I like the B683 a little bit more. It's a little bit more woody and it's a little bit more sweet. And I don't remember all the notes, but it's been a while since I've tried them. But I think I like the B683 better than the Ganymede. But the Ganymede's a little bit lighter. Some people might find it's a little bit more versatile. It's not a floral fragrance. It's just that it has a little bit of more florals mixed into it. Both are great juices. Some people might not think the price is warranted. It's not. I don't know. They're not. To me, they don't smell like terribly special or terribly creative fragrances for the price. But do they smell good? Yeah, and do they do a good job for what they're supposed to do? I think they do. Great stuff. And check out B683. Jesus is back. Yeah, Jesus is in the house, man. I don't know what to say about that. See people putting the bottles in mini fridges seems kind of excessive. To each their own. No, yeah, I don't have a mini fridge. I don't have a big fridge. I don't put fragrances in fridges, but that's probably gonna make your fragrances last for I don't know how long. If you put your fragrance in a fridge, it'll probably last for 50 years or something. I have no idea. But supposedly that really protects the fragrance's opening and really works for people. I don't know if I want to spray a cold fragrance on my skin every day. That might be nice in the summer to cool down and freshen up, but I don't know if I want to wear a cold fragrance hitting my skin every day. And it also probably changes how the fragrance, it takes a little bit of time for the fragrance to warm up on your skin. Probably changes the wearing experience just a little bit, and I don't know if I want to get into that. So, yeah, that's some people do. Some people buy mini fridges and tuck their fragrances in there. More power to them. Yeah, I don't think I'll do that. And that's expensive. I mean, I don't want to pay an extra electric bill and buy a mini fridge for that. But Ultra Super says, I wore Rasasi Hawass a few days ago, and it's real long lasting. It's a beast. Yeah, that Hawass, from what I've heard, is really long lasting. Does it perform even better than Invictus? I've heard some people say that, but I really don't know. But yeah, Hawass is definitely a big compliment getter. Definitely worth checking out. So, anyways, guys, I felt like we've got to a good stopping point. Been on here for an hour and a half. I'm sure that y'all have something fun to do this Saturday evening. Somewhere to go, some place to be, or maybe just chill out and watch a movie and cook up something. But I probably should get going. But this has been a really good chat. I really do appreciate all of y'all. Do y'all have any quick questions for me or any more thoughts before we wrap it up around here? But I do really appreciate the conversation. Again, y'all got me into some funny questions. I don't think anybody would take it the wrong way, but y'all know how fragrance somehow people can record quick snippets of things and try to create drama and fights between people. I have nothing against female fragrance reviewers. I respect ladies. I respect women. But of course, men are attracted to attractive ladies. That's what I was essentially saying. And I don't have anything against Aaron Terrence Hughes. He seems like a pretty cool guy. I think he's really passionate about fragrances, and I bet his fragrances smell pretty good too. So I don't have anything against these people. I just want to put that disclaimer out there because y'all know how some people will start fights and create problems out there, especially on Facebook. So, time to watch people celebrate. Maybe that's going on in television. I'm not sure. Randy says, have a good one, Ben. Absolutely. Have a great night. Have fun, everybody. Ultra Super says, okay, Ben. Make the best of your evening. Take care and see you soon. Absolutely. Stay safe, everybody. Live well. Enjoy your fragrances. And I'll catch you another Saturday. I hope that you're liking my content. I've been putting out crazy content. And if you haven't hit that darn notification bell, maybe you should, because I put out a video every day. And I hope that y'all are getting notified of that. Anyways, everybody, I'll catch you later. Hope that you enjoyed seeing me. I enjoyed chatting with you. So have a good night, everybody. Live well. Stay safe. And I'll catch you next time, everybody. Yeah, you take care, everybody. Keep up the good stuff. I will. And I'll keep up that good fight. So I'll see you, everybody. Peace out and bye.